everybody. Welcome to another podcast after party because these are a couple of very special podcasts this week for Project 1 Million in 1 year. And today's title is Can I Really Make 1 Million? Which is obviously the question because today we have number two. Ay, ay, ay. Too much excitement. But today we had a very powerful session. It was day number two. It was called the Empowerment session, Empowerment Day, and it was really nice. And a lot of people have had like massive breakthroughs about what is possible and the different things that we can do and that everything is possible. And then obviously comes the next logical question, which is okay, if everything is possible, can I actually make a million? And I want to share my own personal journey, basically, that I've had. And I've faced the same fears, same doubts, even to this day, about what I can do and what I cannot do, even if I've done it before. And I want to basically share my experiences, what I've had in two multi-million dollar businesses that I've been so happy and blessed to be able to have created with my business partners. And I want to share with you that entire process and the thoughts behind the scenes. So get ready, kick back and relax for another episode of Tjibaria's Daily Show. Yo, welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you guys on this special episode. So, if you guys, again, are part of Project 1 Million in 1 year, comment below and say P1M. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and what Project 1 Million even is, then comment below and say, I would like to know more. Like, and maybe give you some more information about it for our next event, which we're going to run in May. Because this one is well on its way. We've just had day number two and it was super powerful. And I was so excited seeing the real beautiful breakthroughs. And like, I don't know if I can, again, show you guys a little bit of it because it's just so heartwarming to see people literally embracing transformation and seeing the actions that they're taking, the things that they're like not developing, discovering about themselves, and how literally things can happen in such a short space of time. And it's just really incredible for me to see it. Yes, Christiana, amazing. I just want to say mwah, when I made a big hug today, I made a little oopsie. And Christiana knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I am going to actually be bold here, Christiana. I want to work with you. I think you're amazing. So I'm just going to make that public declaration. I want to work with you. I think you're awesome. So do with that what you will. But I'm expressing my wishes. So again, I just want to show you guys this. So this is our group. You see all of these beautiful people going live, sharing their different things. And it's just absolutely incredible. And I'm just so overjoyed seeing this because every single time that we're running events, we can just see the impact that it has on so many people. And that's why today on this particular after party, and excuse my voice because my voice is a little tired, but I just want to share my own journey of doubts and how I also have thought and still to this day have doubts thinking like, hey, what can I do? And is it possible? But I want to start off straight away actually. And I'm going to go and just again give shout out to all the comments. Hoo-ha-hoo. It's always so lovely to see that. So thank you so much. Yes, I want to work with you too. Hoo-ha-hoo. I just want to share one of the biggest things that recently has been like a reha. Like sometimes we say aha, and then one of my students, Emily, once said a reha. And so it's like you realize something before, but then you realize it on a different level, and then it's called a reha. So I had a reha recently, and it was quite interesting. And it's a quote by Grant Cardone. And he basically says is that we basically operate with what we can think with. Now, I'm not sure if I'm butchering the quote or whether it's actually exactly like that he said it, but it basically is like whatever we can wrap our mind around is what therefore we are able to do and create and the results that we're calling in. So if I'm thinking on the level of hundreds, then that's what's going to come in. If I'm thinking on the level of thousands, then that's what's going to come in. If I'm thinking on the level of tens of thousands, because I can think with that, then that's what's going to come in. If I can think about millions, then that's going to come. Or even if I can think beyond the millions, which we spoke about today as well. If we're thinking beyond something, then the millions can actually come easily. And that's why I'm so happy that for our amazing participants on day number 4, we're going to actually talk about the $1 billion project that we are building, and that we are, just as a fast forward, going to involve our students in, which is really quite exciting. But it really blew my mind once again, is because one of the things that we shared during this event is that success is a decision. Now, if you guys are listening to this for the first time, or if you're part of the event, comment below, once again, reaffirm it and say success is a decision. So it's really like, what do I decide? And again, I'm quoting Grant Cardone a lot, because this guy has made such an impact on me and my companies, and just, everything that we do. So massive credit goes to him. And another thing that he said, which was quite interesting, and he says it in such a harsh way, which I like. I like it when a mentor is direct. Let me know if you guys like that too. But he says it in a very direct way. And he says, if you, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, and I'm going to make it a bit softer. But he says something along the lines of, is if you worry about the thousands, there is no space for the millions. And it's exactly the same thing if you think about it, right? If you worry about the thousands, there's no space for the millions. Like, you can forget about the millions, something like that is what he says. Hello, Tony. And that's interesting, because it actually goes back to what I just shared. Like, we operate with what we can think with. And so if I'm thinking on the level of the thousands, there's just not space for millions to come in. So we need to expand our thinking. And that was actually a principle that we discovered today in Empowerment Day. And that's why I love this day so much, is because one of the points that I was making, and I hope you guys got that point, is that you have to value yourself. It's so, so, so important. And I want you again, affirm that one too. Comment below and say, I value myself. Because so many of us, we somehow lend our own value towards things, or we like, this is a thing. Sometimes people say that because they haven't made millions yet, then they cannot charge a certain amount, or they feel like they're not ready yet, or they're not, valuable enough yet, they're not enough, or they're not good enough, or things like that, simply because of what their bank account dictates. And so what we always say, and I want you guys to know this once again, is that your bank account doesn't reflect your value. It's a completely different thing. Your value is something intrinsic, something that you have had when you came to this world. You were already valuable at birth. But as you were growing, you became even more valuable because of the unique experiences that you've had, the things that you've learned, the things that you have adopted. You are really what extremely special individual. And that is a very important thing to realize. And when it then goes into business and talking about making the million, like, one of the things that tomorrow, and I'm so excited for tomorrow, we're going to uncover, is actually pricing. And how can you reverse engineer making a million? And how do you want to go about offering things that makes making a million actually very achievable and practical, that you can do that, and that it's not going to take you 5 million years before you get there. Which actually brings me to another interesting point, because actually most people have made a million in their lifetime, if you think about it. Like, depending on what your salary is. But if, let's say, if you make 50,000 per year, and you've been working for, is it 20 years? Is it 20 years? Am I doing the math right? Roughly. Let me just do the calculation, because sometimes my head math, 50,000 is 1,000 times 12 times 20. Oh, that's 12 million. That's 12 million. No, 50,000, not per month. Sorry, divided by 12. Yeah, 50,000, 50,000 per year for 20 years is a million. So if that's roughly, then you can deduct it as such. So most people have in their lifetime, or will in their lifetime, make a million. But it's about, most people don't actually keep the money. So making money is one, keeping the money is two. And the third thing is actually amplifying the money. How can you amplify it? And how can you allow your money to work for you? And that's an interesting thing. And this is, again, some of these concepts that the rich people, the most successful people, have undergone control because they realize how can they allow their money to make more money. And the holy grail of all of that is obviously passive income. How can you allow your money to multiply itself passively? Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, and by the way, if you are new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, because I am making daily videos. Unless I'm not making daily videos, but first of all, I'm making daily videos. Hold me accountable. But yeah, with regard, no, actually, I'm making daily videos, and then I divide it. Sometimes I make 2 videos per day, like a short and a longer video, but in principle, daily videos for sure. But all of that again being said, is if you think about money and you think about wealth and richness, one of the things that we spoke about today is that sometimes people have a negative connotation about rich people, or they think, oh, money is the root of all evil and stuff like that. And if you think like that, like, how are you going to want to actually make money or want to become a rich person? That's just not going to happen. So those of you that are new to the channel understand that the way how we speak about it, and especially what we educate during Project 1 Million in 1 Year, is that we only talk about making money by making impact and doing things that are purposeful, things that are ethical, things that are really helping people forward. So just imagine a situation where you are making a lot of impact, and because of the impact that you're making a lot of money from it. How many of you would like the sound of that? Let me know in the chat box. And that's actually quite interesting. And we did a little bit of an idea, like a brain spinsel, I don't know how you call it, but we did a little bit of an idea in the pre-training, which we ran last week, where we spoke about the fact is, if you think about it this way, if you have a product that is 1,000 and you want to make 1,000,000, if you have made your 1,000,000, how many people have you helped? Well, simple math, you divide 1,000,000 by 1,000, meaning that you have helped 1,000 people. And that's actually quite interesting. So if you look at it from another angle, and again, the way how we educate our clients of how to do business is in a purposeful, meaningful, valuable way, where you're actually making a difference to people with everything that you're offering. And thinking about it in that way, making 1,000,000 means I'm serving 1,000 lives. I'm making a difference to 1,000 people. Now, how many of you would like to do that? How many of you would like to make an impact to 1,000 folks, 1,000 families? Like, how awesome is that? And so for me, and for the way how we do everything in our circle, like, money and impact are directly connected, which is, again, super powerful. So again, when I'm speaking about all of these things, making money, doing all of these things, it's just like, understand that we're speaking about it from a conscious perspective, a positive perspective, not just from, hey, I want to make a quick buck, because I have no respect for people that just want to make money because they are quickly selling something and they don't respect the client. They are not kind, they're not courteous, they're not actually helping someone. That stuff I don't think is good, because not only are you hurting others, but you're also hurting yourself in that process. So that's the context in which we speak. But then again, it's super important that everybody realizes that we have to value ourselves, because some of you listening to this might even think, like, offering something for 1,000, me, how? Right? How can I even offer something for 1,000? Well, you'll be pleasantly surprised if tomorrow we're actually talking about even higher ticket items, how you can incorporate into your business even higher ticket things that allow the reverse engineering towards 1,000,000 to be phenomenal and spectacular, and also very practical. And that brings me to my own story when I actually started in business. And I'm not going to fully, share the entirety of the story, but what I can say is that when I went into business and I invested in myself and I went all in, like, for those of you who know me, I quit my job, I moved to a different country, I started to work for my mentor in his company, and I went all in. And in my first month of business, I was actually part of closing 100,000, and personally 70,000 was what I closed in a very short space of time. And mind you, that happened after me having been in a job where I made a salary of 2,000 per month, which still is quite good for most people, quite decent. But you can calculate how long would it take me if I make 2,000 per month to make 1,000,000. So that would be 24,000 per year. So 1,000,000 divided by 24,000, it would be 42 years. Can you believe it? 42 years to make 1,000,000. And then if we do like a 6 figures, so 6 figures divided by 24, that will mean it will take me 4 years. And now it happened in a weekend, which was mind blowing to me. I was just like, I can't believe it. And that's, again, coming back to what I shared in the beginning, is that we do things based on what we can think with. So when there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, surround yourself by like-minded individuals, or surround yourself by successful people, and people that, if you want to up level in a particular area, surround yourself with that level of people that have achieved the results that you want to achieve. So if you want to become a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. If you want to become a strong athlete, surround yourself with athletes, people that have achieved certain things. Find yourself a mentor. All these things are true, because when you see evidence of certain things, then that starts to become part of your thinking. You open up your eyes, your horizon expands, you start to take steps in that direction. And what we were talking about today, and everybody commented below, whenever you take action, it opens doors. So we were visually explaining that with every step that you're taking, it broadens your horizon, because you see things that, if I sit here, I can't see them. But if I'm here, all of a sudden I can see, I can look around the corner and I see, wow, there's a whole new world there. And that's an interesting thing. So again, coming back to the beginning quote, is we operate with what we can think with. So if I want to make 1 million, I need to start thinking with that level of being. And what does that require? What does it require? It requires me to obviously see examples of that, which can be beneficial, read books, look at success stories, surround yourself with a mentor, find yourself a mastermind group, people that are already operating at those levels, so that you can see, hey, this person is doing it, that person is doing it. You actually see evidence of that, because one of the interesting things is that when I went into business, it was actually quite quickly. I was surrounded by my mentor, but also I went with my mentor, Master Sharkashna, to all of his business meetings. I was meeting all these millionaires, even a sassy billionaire. Story for another day. And I was seeing like all these people for which passive income was the everyday thing. It was super normal. People that are closing deals, Stripe accounts that were going pling, 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 pling. So it was the everyday thing was making money. I was the odd one out because it was all new for me. And then I was like, wow, so this is a whole different reality. And that's why people say, like, the 5 people, the closest people that you surround yourself with, actually predict your future. Tell me the 5 people that you hang with the most, and I can tell you your future. If you're bluntly said, hang out with 5 broke people, you're going to be the 6th one that is broke. If you hang around 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th millionaire. It is, to a degree, as simple as that. Now, again, I'm not saying that you should go and cut off all your broke friends or stuff like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying is that success leaves clues, as so many successful people say, and that we want to become aware of those clues, and we want to start thinking with what these guys and girls are thinking with, and elevate the way how we think about value, how we think about ourselves, how we think about the world, how we think about money, what can we do, and realize that there's something that is so much more precious than money. You guys know what that is? What is more precious than money? Well, it is the value that you bring, the solutions that you bring, the energy that you bring, the empowerment that you bring, the knowledge that you bring, the passion that you bring. That is the reason why people are willing to part with their money and exchange it for what you can add to their lives, which in most cases is priceless. Imagine if you are a fitness coach and you're able to help someone finally get fit, that has cost them years of agony and pain and medical costs. And now they can work with you and pay $1,000 to actually solve a problem that they've been faced with for 10 years. It's priceless. Your value is so much more than the money. That's why they're willing to exchange it. Or if you think about what I do, I help people make money. I have so many clients that have invested thousands with us, and they have been able to make hundreds of thousands, millions. We have a top client so far has made or has closed in 5 months a 9-figure deal, which means 100 million. So is that valuable? Of course it's valuable. Had they invest in themselves? Had they have to invest in themselves? Yes, of course, also. But that's the thing. And now what I want this video to do for you is I want to take you behind the scenes of how I learned to wrap my head around things, because I saw evidence of it. I saw other people to which, making passive income, making a lot of money, making millions was simple, was easy. And so I started to think about, like, oh, okay, interesting. Apparently that's the everyday conversation. That's normal stuff. And with that then comes, okay, so how can I value myself, which was the topic of the day. That's why this day, day number 2, is so powerful and empowering. That's why it's called Empowerment Day, is so that you can start to see, like, I value myself, and I actually start to recognize that the value that I bring to the table is far beyond what money brings to the table. Because money is just paper, money is just coins, money is just like, it's energy. And the energy that you bring exceeds the energy that money was there for. And if you think about it this way, just very simply, imagine if someone like me, I had a $2,000 salary roughly per month, and I have to go and find myself a coach. And I could be like, okay, first time I invested in myself, the price tag was 7,000. So I might think about it, okay, that's a couple of months of my salary. That's like 1, 2, 3, 3.5 months of my salary. If I invest that amount of money, that's a lot of money. Or I think about it from the perspective that I have now in retrospect, but also in the moment itself. That's why I took action, is that me investing that money allowed me to close 70,000. That is 10 times more, 10x in just 3 weeks, because I learned certain things and I had certain experiences. My eyes opened, my awareness, the stuff that I got to think with expanded so much so that I was able to close 10 times the amount that was the price tag of the mentorship. So there's two ways you can look at it. On the one hand, I can say, well, compared to my salary and compared to the everyday scenario in my current reality, it's a lot. And it's true. It's true. But compared to the other side of things, if the stuff that I've learned that have allowed me to actually leap myself forward, where I'm in a situation where 7,000 actually isn't that much anymore, that was the priceless part of it. And that's the difficult part as well, because you want to operate and start thinking with a reality that perhaps isn't here yet. I need to start thinking abundantly from a situation that I know is going to come in the future, even though I'm not there yet. And right now I'm counting coins because, I need to pay for my rent, I need to pay for my food. It's like all of these things, as most of us think about. I have my expenses, I have stuff that I have to do. Now, luckily in my situation, I didn't actually have rent because I was living with my parents back then. But there were expenses. I had to pay for certain things. I was doing a PhD. I had to travel a lot, and there's lots of different things that I had to take care of. And so every pound or every euro in the time mattered. I can look at it that way, or I can start seeing, hey, I'm going to look into the future. And I'm going to realize for myself, what do I actually want? I want to be a millionaire. And not for the sake of money, but for the sake that money, what it can bring, what it can allow me to do, me being able to look after myself, looking after my family, looking after the people that I want to help, provide opportunities, help and bring my message to the world so that more families can go and elevate themselves. So if you think about it, that first investment that I had to make, which was a $7,000 price tag, had I not invested that, I wouldn't be able to help the hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions by now, that I have been able to help. How many families have broken through because of me giving the education that I've learned from my precious mentors and my experiences and my hard work? So what was that 7K actually worth? It was worth everything, because it changed my life and it changed the lives of so many. But I got to connect to that future before it has happened. And that was really crazy, especially because I was a scientist back then. For those of you who know the story, I was doing a PhD in astrophysics. And for anyone who knows science, and science is kind of like this. You have to see it before you believe it. You have to prove it scientifically. Whereas in business, it's the other way around. You have to believe in it before you can see it. It's the two polar opposites. So me approaching it with a scientific mind, it was really crazy. Like, man, I should never do this. But good, and so thankful that I was raised by parents that allowed me to think big and to dream big. And it wasn't until I actually became an entrepreneur that I realized how entrepreneurial our upbringing has been, and how our parents always instilled us with the beliefs to believe in ourselves, to know that everything is possible, to instill in me and my siblings how much, how special we are, and how we can do everything as long as we do good things and we operate from a good heart, and we have good intentions and we go out and help people. And that was one of the interesting things, because after I started making a lot of money in my first few months in business, my mind shifted. And this is something for all of the Project 1 Million registrants, participants, it sounds so official, our friends, our Project 1 Million students. What we're going to tap into on day number 4 is that we're actually going to think beyond the million. So that if we start thinking with things, numbers much bigger than a million, then the million all of a sudden becomes easy. And so it was a couple of months in that I just really started to see how this business thing worked. And I was excited. I was like, man, this thing is the best thing ever. I was just so excited. I was like, why don't we learn this in school? And from having that experience, I was like, hey, you know what? I set myself a target. I want to create. And back then, still having a bit of my techie background, business background, scientific background, I was like, I want to set up a $1 billion tech company. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I was just like, oh man, how awesome would that be? And I remember I was geeking out with Master Shirakashina so much. And that was, I really want to say a massive thank you to Master Shirakashina, because he's been such an influential mentor in my life. And we were always geeking out, even still to this day. Like we don't always see each other, but when we do, we geek out over the most crazy business things and other things as well. But just like thinking about, oh yeah, a tech company, how awesome would that be? And then we were thinking about apps and whatever. And there was this one idea that I had. I don't think I've ever publicly spoken about it, but I had an idea of a book trailer company. I was like, that would be awesome, right? A book trailer company. Like, you have trailers for movies, but you don't have trailers for books. Like, let's do it. And it was funny because Master Shakashina was like, okay, cool. I like the idea. Let us actually go to a tech expert. So he took me to see an old friend of him and Steve Gwilt. So shout out to Steve. And that guy used to work in Silicon Valley. And it was like, oh, pitch your idea, share this. And that was my reality back then. So I was spending time with all these amazing, awesome business geeks that knew a lot. And basically I got schooled a little bit and realized why there's a time and a place for everything. And that was not the time and the place to start a book trailer company. But I learned some really valuable lessons back then, which now I've incorporated in everything that we train. And what I will also share with you guys tomorrow is like scalability. That was not scalable at all. Definitely not at that point. It wasn't the time and the place to go and create a tech platform, because when you do that, you're going to actually need numbers. You're going to have a lot of users. And if you want to attract advertisement, again, you need users for that. You have to have people coming back to the platform. You need to gamify the whole thing. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't even see how we're going to do that. So it was not the right time. But who knows, maybe I'll do it one day. Maybe you guys will run with the idea one day. That's also fine. Like it's everyone's, sprinkles that can bring this, or you can run with it. I'm not doing it, I think. Anyways, long story short, I was geeking out, and I was just having this marvelous fantasy of being able to impact not like 1,000 lives, but impacting 1,000,000 lives. Because if you think about it, business, like making 1,000,000,000 and then doing the same exercise, if I have a product that sells for 1,000 roughly, then I would have impacted 1,000,000 lives. So if you make 1,000,000,000, you've impacted 1,000,000 lives. How awesome is that? But at some point I got scared. And I was thinking, like, is it actually right to even want this? And I've started to think about all these scary stories of all these billionaires that are not good people and that have done horrendous things. And there's definitely a fair share of them out there, even to this day, unfortunately. And I got a little bit scared. I was like, is this actually a good thing? Like, why would I even want that? I want to be the good person that I am, and I want to stay a good person. Let me know in the chat box if you can resonate with that. So that was my fear. And so I remember that I was walking outside. It was a beautiful summer day in UK, which is not that many summer days, but anyways, I was walking outside in the green area of the estate that I was living. And I called my dad, and I was actually asking him, like, is it okay for me to want this? Isn't it gonna corrupt my heart, so to speak? And then he said something really incredible that still to this day is with me, and I want to live my life by those words, which is, the thing that matters the most is your intention with things, and that you do things, you think good thoughts, and you know what your purpose is with it. So if my purpose is to help people, and I can actually help 1,000,000 people and thereby produce $1 billion, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm going to chase the money and I'm no longer going to care about people, and I'm going to just do that elbow work, as we say in the Netherlands, and hurt people in the process, and then it's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, when we leave this world, we're not taking any of this material stuff with us. What we do take with us is the love that we brought in this world, but also the hurt that we brought to this world. All of these things are going to be weighed in into the grand scheme of things. And so he said, if you just make sure that with everything that you do, you have good intentions and you are doing it to help people and make a difference to people, you never forget that, then shouldn't it be an amazing thing to strive for changing 1,000,000 lives? And I was like, yeah, it is. So then the perspective changed. It was not me chasing 1,000,000,000, but me chasing, or maybe not even chasing, me wanting to share my message with as many people as possible. And by now, at this moment, we've shared it with a lot of people, but I'm nowhere near the 1,000,000,000. I know that. I'm going to say it honestly. But I also know at the same time that we will get there. And I now know how. And that's the cool part, which I'm going to unveil on day number 4 of Project 1,000,000 in 1 year. And it wasn't until 2 years ago that I actually realized, this is how we're going to do it. I'm like, whoa, awesome, let's go. So that was an interesting process. But again, I want you guys to know that there's, again, many different parts in it where I also had these questions like, can I do it? Am I valuing myself? Is it even possible? But then I say, yeah, people are doing it. Then I start to evaluate how am I actually bringing value? Like, is it worth for someone to pay me $1,000 if I'm going to help them with this and that? And then I saw my clients making thousands, hundreds of thousands, a 9-figure deal. Like, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think I bring value to the table. So then I started to upgrade the way how I felt about my own value, which is what I inspire you guys to do too. Even before you have student testimonials and success stories, like, it comes by you recognizing your intrinsic value, which is also what we're going to talk about on day number 4, as well as tomorrow, day number 3. And then all of these things clicked in, and then I was thinking about, okay, but is it the right thing? Like, all these moral questions, and is it even right to want to make 1,000,000,000 and stuff like that? So I want you to know that I've had all of these same thoughts. But what I hope that this video does for you guys, and what I hope this event does for you guys, is that you actually realize is that all of these things are within your control. Success is a decision. And if we can think with us valuing ourselves, we can think with that these big things are in fact possible. And we can think with that the fact that we are doing good and that the goodness that we do produce that abundance, then we can think with making millions. And then we can operate with it as well. And then you can tap into taking action with conviction. Because taking action is amazing. But taking action alone won't do it. There's so many people that take action. Like, how many of you listening to this right now or on the replay have ever taken action? But you have taken that action, but for some reason it hasn't produced the results yet. Now, the reason that I believe that is because the action that you took wasn't with conviction. You weren't fully convinced, like, yes, I'm doing this, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get to where I want to be, for the sake of all good things, or somewhere even better, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. That you realize that you have an open mind, an open heart. You say, yes, I'm going to go for it. And I don't have a plan B. No, there's plan A and plan A only, like Arnold Schwarzenegger says. It's so true. You have to have like a tunnel vision. That's where I'm going to go. But I also am open to something even better, which now at my current reality, I cannot see. But once I take those steps and doors open, I can also see like, oh, wait a second, not that one. And I adapt. And then all of a sudden you start moving with it. But in the beginning, you got to have trust. You got to trust yourself, trust God, in my opinion, or trust the universe or multiple gods, or whatever you believe in, and trust that it is possible, and put trust in your mentor and whoever you work with that helps you find your roadmap. And then take that action with conviction. And so tomorrow we're going to unpack that in a lot more detail. But then also what I do want to make very clear before we're going to finish this call, because I have another appointment, is that you don't have to know it all. This is a really important thing that I want you guys to know. You will not have all the details. And it feels like you're not in control. It feels really weird because you're taking action, but am I actually going to get there? But you have to trust that you will, and trust the process. And the details will fall into place as you're taking the action. And one of the things that my dad and Master Akashna have taught me as well, and I've learned the hard way, which some of you will come to realize in one of those days, probably day 4, is that learning happens in stages. There's different stages. So if you have gone through things in your life that right now you feel like, oh man, I've tried so many stuff, but I'm not there yet, it's because there was the stage of learning, the stage of going through things. There was another stage, and now you might be at the stage where you can tie all of these experiences together, and actually now, only now, are you ready to actually follow through. That's why on day number 1, we spoke about the fact that failure doesn't exist. Failure is essential. Failure isn't what you think that it is. Failure is simply the stepping stones to your success. Does that make sense? And you need to collect as many failures, as many learnings to be able to get to your beloved success. But in that process, you got to know that at the place where I am at right now, I can't see everything. I cannot have the details. And even if I try to make a business plan, a financial forecast, do all of these good things that people tell you in business school, whenever you go and action it, it's going to be completely different. So you may as well just take action. Learn something, obviously. That's why you guys are here, Project 1 Million in 1 Year. And by the way, if you're not part of Project 1 Million in 1 Year, comment below and say P1M interested or something like that. Yeah? And then I'll make sure that you get an invitation for the next one. But you just got to take that step. You're going to take the steps, and then the details will fall into place, and you'll see, hey, progress over perfection, like one of my students once said. And when you do that, and when you allow yourself to do that, and you trust yourself enough to realize that you are limitless and that you are capable of everything that is good, then this process will not only be wildly successful and wildly abundant, but it will also be wildly beautiful. And it will be an adventure of a lifetime. And so I hope this helped you guys today. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like, hit the bell, subscribe. No, different follower. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, because I'm new at this. And feel free, if this video empowered you, feel free to share it with someone. Like, how many of you thought this was valuable? Hit the share button, maybe share it on your Facebook or share it with a loved one, because I really want to make that impact. And you guys know our target, we're going to change not just millions, but maybe even 1 billion lives. Who knows? And that would be so amazing. So on that note, I'm going to go. For those of you that are part of Project 1 Million in 1 Year, I cannot wait to see you guys there. For those of you that are not part of it and you want to be part of it, comment below and say P1, I'm interested. And I'll get you an invitation to the next one. And on that note, I'm going to go because I have an appointment to catch. Bye, everybody. Love you lots. Mwah.